Hey everyone! We've all wondered how some people breeze through exams while others drown in notes. If you think top students study more, you're wrong. They study smarter, and today I'll show you exactly how. Most students sit at their desks for hours, rereading notes, hoping something sticks. But top students use a completely different approach. They follow 5 insanely effective habits that make studying easier, faster, and way more productive. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to transform your study routine and get results like a topper. Let's dive in. Have you ever crammed for an exam, convinced you understood everything, only to blank out the moment you saw the questions? It's a common experience that leaves many of us feeling defeated and frustrated. Yeah, we've all been there. It's frustrating, right? The problem is, we often mistake familiarity with the material for true understanding. Here's the thing, understanding something and truly knowing it are two different things. You might recognize the words and concepts, but can you explain them clearly and concisely? And that's where the Feynman technique comes in. Named after the brilliant physicist Richard Feynman, this method is designed to deepen your understanding by simplifying complex ideas. This technique is named after the brilliant physicist Richard Feynman. It's all about simplifying. Feynman was known for his ability to break down intricate theories into easy-to-understand concepts. Step 1. Pick a concept you want to learn. It could be anything from quantum mechanics to the basics of photosynthesis. Now imagine you have to teach it to a 10-year-old. This forces you to simplify the concept and use plain language, someone with no background in that subject. This imaginary 10-year-old is curious and asks a lot of questions, pushing you to clarify your thoughts. As you start explaining, you'll quickly realize where your own understanding has gaps. These gaps are crucial because they highlight the areas you need to focus on. Those moments when you struggle to find the right words, those are gold. They indicate the points where your understanding is weak. Step 2. Identify those areas where you stumbled. These are the parts of the concept that you need to revisit and study more deeply. Go back to your textbook, notes, or resources, and really try to grasp those concepts. Don't just skim through. Take the time to understand the material thoroughly. Break them down further, find different explanations, watch videos, whatever it takes. Use multiple resources to get a well-rounded understanding. Step 3. Now try explaining it again to your imaginary 10-year-old. This time, aim to be even clearer and more concise. This time, you'll find the words flow easier, the connections become clearer. You'll notice that your explanation is more coherent and logical. By teaching, you're forcing your brain to process information deeply. This active engagement helps solidify your understanding. Think about it, even Einstein said, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough." This quote underscores the importance of clarity in understanding. This technique isn't just about passing exams, it's about truly owning the knowledge. When you can teach a concept simply, you know you've mastered it. So here's your action step. Pick one topic you're studying and try explaining it to an imaginary student or a friend. You'll be amazed at how much more you understand. Let's talk about memory, or more specifically, how to actually remember what you study. It's a challenge that many of us face, especially when we're trying to absorb a lot of information in a short amount of time. We've all been there, right? The frustration of feeling like the hours you spent studying were wasted. You spend hours cramming information only to forget most of it by the next day. It's a common experience and it can be incredibly disheartening. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it just keeps leaking out. There's a scientific reason why this happens, and it's called the forgetting curve. This concept was first introduced by Hermann Ebbinghaus, a German psychologist, in the late 19th century. This curve shows how quickly we forget information if we don't actively try to retain it. Essentially, our brains are wired to forget things that we don't deem important. The good news is, top students have figured out a way to hack this curve, and it's called spaced repetition. This technique leverages the way our memory works to help us retain information more effectively. Here's how it works. Instead of cramming everything in one go, you space out your review sessions. This method is based on the principle that information is more easily retained if it's reviewed at intervals. Let's say you learn a new topic today. The key is to revisit this topic multiple times over a period of days or weeks. Instead of waiting until a week before the exam to revisit it, you do a quick 5-minute review on day 3. This helps reinforce the material in your mind. Just skim through the material, test yourself on some key points. This quick review helps to keep the information fresh in your memory. Then, on day 7, you do another review, maybe a bit more in-depth this time. This second review session helps to further solidify the information. And finally, on day 14, you do a final revision. This last review ensures that the information is firmly embedded in your long-term memory. By doing this, you're strategically reminding your brain about the information just when it's about to forget it. This method takes advantage of the brain's natural forgetting process to improve retention. So, your action steps set reminders on your phone or use a flashcard app to schedule your review sessions. There are many apps available that can help you with spaced repetition, making it easier to stay on track. Once you start using spaced repetition, you'll wonder how you ever survived without it. This simple yet powerful technique can transform the way you study and help you achieve better results with less stress. Chapter 3. Ditch notes, start blurting. How many of you are guilty of just passively reading and rereading your notes, hoping something will stick? Don't worry, I've been there too. But the truth is, simply reading your notes is one of the least effective ways to study. It's like watching a cooking show and expecting to become a chef. Top students know that active recall is key, and that's where the blurting method comes in. This technique might sound a bit weird, but trust me, it works. Here's how it's done. Step 1. Choose a topic and read the material once. Focus on understanding the concepts, not memorizing every single word. Step 2. Now comes the fun part. Close your book, grab a blank sheet of paper and write down everything you can remember about the topic. And I mean everything. Don't worry about grammar, spelling, or making it look pretty. Just let it flow out of your brain and onto the paper. Step 3. Compare your blurt with your original material. Highlight or circle anything you missed or got wrong. The beauty of blurting is that it forces your brain to actively retrieve information. So, your action. Step: pick any topic you're studying, close your notes, and just start blurting. Chapter 4. The 80-20th Rule, Smart Prioritization. Let's face it, we're all busy, and time is precious, especially when it comes to studying. You might feel overwhelmed with the sheer volume of material you need to cover. Well, here's a secret weapon: the 80-20th Rule, also known as the Pareto Principle. This rule states that roughly 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. Now, apply this to studying. What if I told you that 80% of your exam questions come from just 20% of your syllabus? Top students understand this principle and use it to their advantage. They don't waste time trying to memorize every single detail. Instead, they focus on mastering the most important concepts first. Here's how you can do the same. Step 1. Analyze past exam papers. Look for patterns in the questions asked. Identify the topics that appear most frequently and the ones that carry the most weight in terms of marks. Step 2. Prioritize those high-yield topics in your study schedule. Spend more time on those areas, understand them deeply, and practice more questions from those topics. The 80-20th rule is all about working smarter, not harder. Chapter 5. Stop reading, start testing. We've all been conditioned to think that studying means reading textbooks, highlighting notes, and trying to absorb as much information as possible. The more we read, the more we learn, but is that really the case? But here's the harsh truth. Exams don't test how much you can read, they test how well you can apply what you've learned. It's not about the quantity of information you can regurgitate, but the quality of your understanding and your ability to use that knowledge effectively. Top students understand this fundamental difference, and they make one crucial shift in their study routine. They prioritize active learning over passive reading. They engage with the material in a way that forces them to think critically and apply concepts in various scenarios. And the most effective way to do this is through consistent testing. Regular self-assessment helps reinforce learning and identify areas that need improvement. It transforms passive reading into an active challenge. Think about it. When you're in an exam, you're not reading notes, you're retrieving information from your memory and applying it to solve problems. This retrieval process strengthens your memory and enhances your understanding. So why not simulate those conditions during your study sessions? By mimicking the exam environment, you can train your brain to perform under pressure, making the actual exam feel like just another practice session. Here's your action plan. From now on, aim to spend at least 70% of your study time actively practicing questions, not just passively reading. This shift in focus will make your study sessions more productive and effective. find past papers, use online quizzes, or create your own flashcards. These tools are invaluable for testing your knowledge and identifying gaps in your understanding. And here's the key: make it as realistic as possible. Simulate the exam conditions to the best of your ability. This means timing yourself and working in a quiet environment free from distractions. Set a timer, put away your notes, and challenge yourself to recall the information under pressure. This practice will help you build confidence and improve your performance in actual exams. Don't be afraid to get things wrong. Mistakes are a natural part of the learning process. They provide valuable insights into areas that need more attention. When you get a question wrong, don't just glance at the correct answer and move on. Take the time to understand why you got it wrong and what the correct approach should have been. This reflection is crucial for deep learning. By analyzing your mistakes, you can avoid repeating them in the future. So, your action step: find 5 random questions from a subject you're studying and test yourself. This simple exercise can significantly enhance your understanding and retention of the material. Your study transformation starts now. So there you have it, the 5 powerful habits that top students use to ace their exams. Now you know the secrets, but knowing is only half the battle. The real transformation happens when you take action. Your challenge: pick one habit from this video and try it today. It could be the Feynman technique, spaced repetition, blurting, the 80-20th rule, or active recall through testing. Start small, pick one, and commit to implementing it in your next study session. And let me know in the comments below which habit you're choosing. I'm excited to see your progress. If this video helped you, hit the like button so YouTube knows to show it to more students who are ready to study smarter, not harder. Subscribe for weekly study hacks that actually work. Study smarter, not harder. See you in the next video.